Welcome everyone to another mod spotlight, and today we're gonna have a look at a so freaking cool mod, you won't believe it. There's so many great blocks in this mod that I just had to spotlight it. There were so many things that I didn't know about. Suggested by you guys, and the mod I'm talking about is of course more utilities. So why don't we go ahead and have a dive into it right away. Awesome, so first of all we are going to have a look at the blocks, and after that the items. There will be annotations so you can conveniently skip to the portion of the video that you would like to see. The first block is the angel block, crafted like so. What you do with this block is simply place it, and well, it's not particularly beautiful or anything, but it is an instant kill with the right click, and the most important thing is you can place it directly in front of you no matter if there is a block or not. Let's try this out. Awesome. Now I can build in the air conveniently and very easily. I don't have to pillar up or anything. I can use that probably better in creative mode in a void world. That will probably be the best usage, but I can also think of other ways where this might be convenient. For instance, if I want to place a piston facing down, I don't have to make a pillar and then place the piston. I can simply place this guy first of all, and it will always go back to your inventory with one instant kill. Very practical. Next up, we have the black curtains, crafted like so. You can choose any type of wool, but it will always be black. What this guy does is actually make a doorway for you in order to pass through, but not the light. So if you have a look at the real light level right here, it is 15. So if I go in here, it is 13. But we can halve the light level using those curtains. Now you can see it is 6. Like this 13, like this 6. So that is very practical if you want to make a dark area that will not let so much light pass through. So you don't have to make a huge corridor that will get rid of the light. You can simply use the curtains. Next up, we have the block update detector, and this guy is a simple butt switch crafted like so. What it does is check adjacent blocks for block updates. So if I placed a cobblestone right here, it would output a short redstone signal. And this of course also works if you remove it, or if there is plants growing, or a furnace burning and stopping and things like that. So all the block updates it will detect except themselves. So you cannot update a block updater with a block updater. As a new lighting system, we have the chandeliers, crafted like so, and those guys are freaking hilarious. You can place them on the ceiling, just like that, and they will actually emit light within a 16 block radius and prevent mobs from spawning, and it doesn't even have to be in line of sight, so it will ignore blocks and pass through, as far as I understand, and prevent mobs from spawning within 16 blocks. This mod also comes with 16 different colors, the vanilla colors of bricks and wooden planks, and you can actually temper the color to your liking and mix and match things just the way you want it to. Let's first have a look at the brick itself. It needs to be crafted a little bit differently. As you can see, this is the crafting recipe. You can choose any type of brick, a die, and one of those paintbrushes that you craft like this. If you place it down, it will be the original color, but then you can start to mix colors to your liking. So for instance, I take this cyan dye and right click one of those blocks, and you can see it got slightly brighter, and I can repeat this and adjust it more to be a purple or simply a mix of those two colors. I can also revert back, or I could put in some more green, just like that. Fairly hilarious, I have to say. That is just freaking cool. So you can really get the color, the exact color that you want for a certain type of brick. You can also take a vanilla water bottle in order to go back to the original color. Simply right click one of the bricks, and this sometimes needs a block update. So we're just gonna update the block, and you can see all of the blocks have changed again. That is just freaking cool, don't you think? I think so, definitely. And just to show you, there's also wooden planks. You can do the same thing, but beware that if you change the blue wooden planks, it will also change the blue bricks. Just to show you, you can see. There we go. But we can always go back, make sure that you make a block update if it doesn't work. And there we have the original color. Alternatively to dyes, you may also use your paintbrush in order to pick up a color. Simply shift right click just like that and it will take the respective color, and you can with a normal right click change the whole set of the bricks into exactly this color. So you can see that my red bricks have changed to blue bricks, and also in my inventory the red brick appears as a blue brick, but it is still a red one, so you can treat those individual from those and simply go back the same way we know how to with a vanilla water bottle. This mod also provides an awesome way in order to store your cobblestone. Simply arrange it in a 3x3 grid in order to get the compressed cobblestone that contains 9 cobblestone. You can use that in the same manner in order to get a double compressed cobblestone, and so on and so forth. So here we have the double into a triple compressed cobblestone, and you can do this all the way up to a octuple compressed cobblestone, which contains 43,046,721 cobblestone in one freaking block. Hell yeah. We are also provided with a conveyor belt in this mod, so another way to transport our items. The conveyor belt, crafted like so, is placed just like a repeater, so the way you face is the way the items and mobs will be forced, and you can see an arrow as a little indicator. The way this works is the items will be kept in the middle of the track so they don't fall off. They can also travel up one single block. You can, for instance, make a stairway pattern if you want to move up more. And they will simply travel along the track, but cannot be forced into an inventory, so you would have to use another item in order to suck it up in an inventory. But no problems. This also works with mobs, but let's first try the item. You can see it travels over there, just as we expected. Let's try this with a cow, and you can see that unfortunately the cow cannot be moved up, or the mobs from your mob traps or whatever, but they will tackle along the track just like so. So you can definitely use it in order to transport the mobs as well. A player will actually also be moved by the track. If you want to avoid this, you can shift click and it will not affect you. The next 3 blocks I'm gonna explain using a picture from the forum, because unfortunately I wasn't able to get them into the game. I must have picked an older version where those blocks aren't implemented yet, but we shall also cover them in this spotlight. So let's have a look at the Ender Thermal Pump. This block requires either Buildcraft or Buildcraft compatible mods such as Thermal Expansion. It is a pump specifically designed for lava, and when it pumps up a lava source block, it will instantly replace it with stone and doesn't cause any block update. It also acts as a chunk loader, which means it will keep a minimum of the chunks loaded in order for it to work properly while you're away, with the intention of reducing the lag as much as possible. Mechanically, it functions exactly the same way as a Buildcraft pump in terms of power and output. So simply attach your power and your liquid pipes in order to get the lava out of there and make it function properly. One thing that differs from the Buildcraft pumps is the placement. So you have to place it just above the surface level of the lava lake, which doesn't necessarily mean you have to place it on top of a lava source block itself, because of the mechanics of the replacement of lava source blocks with stone. It potentially isn't touching any lava eventually anyways. So it works also if you place it on a solid block next to a lava lake, but it has to be on the level that is just above the surface of the lava lake. If you get my drift, just try it out. And also, as a side note, to prevent griefing, this pump doesn't work in the overworld, it only works in the nether, but you can change that within the configs if you wish to do so. Next up, we have the Magnum Torch. This magnificent torch will prevent all mobs from spawning within a 64 blocks radius regardless of the light level. So it will not light out 64 blocks, but it will prevent the mob spawning. but this will not affect custom mob spawning such as dungeon spawners or cursed earth, which I'm gonna show you later on. Finally, the last block I couldn't get into the game is the redstone clock. It will simply output a redstone signal once every second. It is not adjustable, but it will output the signal into all 6 directions. If you are more of a peaceful player, this might be the item just for you. The peaceful table, crafted like so. Place it adjacent to an inventory such as a chest or anything else that will accept a sword. You can place the sword inside of the table, and what it will do is, even on peaceful mode, spawn a mob occasionally, kill it instantly, and put the mob drops into this chest. So it is kind of a cheaty way to acquire the mob drops, but to be honest, if you want to play on peaceful, you're always lacking the mob drops and you would have to cheat them in anyways. And this is at least a more or less realistic way. What you have to consider is that you can actually enchant the stuff in here, so it will accept enchants such as unbreaking and looting for more mob drops and stuff like that. So now I'm on peaceful and it should occasionally spawn a mob, kill it instantly, and we probably don't even see the mobs, but eventually there will be some mob drops. So let's just wait it out for a little bit. So I left this running for a few minutes and we can already see we gathered a bunch of materials. It isn't the fastest way of getting materials, so cheating is still faster, and thus it is kind of a balancing out act. So you can use that in your peaceful mode, but you will have to do a lot of waiting time and leave this running in the background. So during the production of this video, haven't you wondered why those cows remain so freaking silent? It is, of course, this awesome block right here called the sound muffler, crafted with wool and a note block. And this guy will prevent 90% of the sounds from being played within 8 blocks, I believe so. So if we check right here, I can punch the grass and you can hear me punch the grass, but here not anymore. That is freaking cool. So let's actually see what those cows would do with us if we didn't have this block. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. There's actually also such a block for the rain, crafted like so, the rain muffler. So you need a lot of sound mufflers, and if you place it down, it might take a few seconds for the sound file to finish playing, and after that you finally get rid of the freaking annoying rain sound that actually sounds just like your microphone would be a trashy one. Yes, it had to be said. I love you. Works 64 blocks into each direction for any player. Pretty cool, isn't it? This next item is any trader's dream, namely the trading post, crafted like so. It is kind of an expensive item, but totally worth it. What it will do is scan any nearby villagers for their trades, their available trades, and compact them in one GUI, just like that. So you can see all of my villagers have those trades right now, and I can simply click one in order to execute it, and it will bring me to the respective interface. And we can do the trade, and you can see this is just simply this villager. I don't see any specific kind of ordering. It simply seems to add them wherever you they want. So right now it actually didn't bring me to the specific trade, but it brought me to the villager that has this trade. So right now we could take 1 emerald just like that and go back into this interface again, maybe exchange 12 books for an emerald, and so on and so forth. This is very practical, to say the least. This mod also provides a very elegant way of getting rid of things using the trash can, crafted like this. Very easy recipe. Simply place the trash can right there. It has a nifty design, and everything that goes into it is instantly disappearing into the void. You can also feed that with any type of tubes or inventory that puts things into the trash can. This all works out. Right, so the last placeable block I want to show you is actually the ethereal glass. It is crafted like so, using unstable ingots. We don't know how to get that yet, but I will show you that as well later on in the video. What this glass will do is actually ignore players except you shift click. But if I don't shift click, I will simply ignore those blocks and I can move through. Nothing else can move through, so no items or mobs can actually pass through those blocks. A very convenient way, a mystical and magical way actually of doing so. But remember, shift clicking will also make you not ignore the blocks, so that would make for a bridge, for instance. Before we move on to the items, let's have a look at the piping system of this mod. It reminds me a lot of Red Power because it will check for the closest inventory to put stuff in. You need several parts for this to work. The most standard part is probably the transfer pipe, crafted like so, and also the transfer node. The transfer node, actually using a vanilla hopper, is used in order to get things out of a chest, and it will also adapt the speed of a vanilla hopper, so that is only about 1 item per second, but you can actually upgrade that using transfer node upgrades, and I think you can apply those multiple times. Simply click them with the upgrade in your hand. And you can see that there is a buffer of 1 item, so you can have a stack of 1 type of item buffering before it tries to distribute them. To exemplify those two parts, I have a simple system. Right here we have an input chest with coal in it, with a transfer node. I actually have this upgraded so it will transfer a stack every time instead of just 1 item, and it will place it, of course, because we input it from below into the bottom slot of the furnace. Right here I have my other input chest, so for instance we could put the gold ore right in there and it will start to move the items into the furnace. First into the buffer, and every now and then it will put them into the furnace. There we go, they moved along and they should be arriving here eventually. I applied a speed upgrade and you can see it moves a lot faster, and the more speed upgrades you put in, the faster it will move. So now that this inventory can not be used anymore, it will look for another inventory to fill up. Right here I have a slightly different pipe, the sorting pipe, crafted like so, which will make sure that only items that are already in the chest will go in there. So if I placed some dirt in here, it should eventually go right here, but the stick will not go into the slot. Let's just wait it out. And the stick should tackle along very soon. Stick will not go in here, but rather into this chest, because we haven't defined it already right here. One more item I unfortunately wasn't able to spawn in is the filter pipe. That would be awesomely useful. It acts just like the diamond pipe of Buildcraft, so you can specify certain materials or items to go into certain directions and not allow anything else through. One more thing you should know about those pipes is that you can adjust them using a simple wooden stick, and you can adjust them in several ways. For instance, you can see that this is slightly lighter than other things, and you can simply right click it to change the mode. Light means that it will not connect to any inventory adjacent to it. Other modes are, for instance, you can see that it is kind of a stripped gray, a little bit black, and that simply means that it will only allow items through there. If I right click again, it will only allow items through here, if you get my drift. It's kind of hard to explain. Now it will only allow items through there. So it will essentially take over the mechanics of an iron pipe from Buildcraft. The system may not be the fastest, but it is definitely lag friendly because there is no clear indication on to what's going on. There's not even an indication if things are working out. You will have to check that manually, but therefore it is lag friendly. Also, you can use the same type of pipes for liquids as well as energy. Let's have a look at the liquids. You will need the transfer node liquid component in order to pull stuff out of there, and you can use the normal pipes, add another tank, or any inventory that will accept the liquid, and it will simply transfer it over. Simple as that. Same thing works with energy. Simply attach any type of pipe that will transfer energy onto this transfer node, crafted like so, and it will transfer the energy also through the same type of pipes, of course, into any inventory that requires the power, such as this energy cell. So during the spotlight, I emptied this full energy cell and filled this one up. Right, so let's move on to the items that are given to us by this mod. So things that you cannot necessarily place in the world, but use in other specific ways. This mod's way of providing more inventory space is the golden bag of holding. It is crafted like this, and what it will do is provide a double chest of extra inventory space that you can carry along with you. But if you lose it, or if it gets destroyed, your stuff is gone. The golden lasso is a very intriguing item, crafted like so, and it can be used in order to pick up undespawnable mobs just with a right click and replace them anywhere you would like. So this will make the mob movement a lot easier. One cool thing you can do with this is also name it. You can place it in an anvil, and you can give it any name that you would like. You will have to spend some levels though, so if I change this, I will have to pay 5 levels. I can also, as an alternative, simply put it into the crafting table and it will give me a random name. So let's check out what we get. Lesk. So it is very random. Sometimes you will end up with a nifty name, but most of the time it will not be a very pleasant, but you can simply rename it again if you wanted to. The next item I want to show you is the Division Sigil, and this guy cannot be crafted in any way. You will have to find it in a dungeon chest, and it will have to be activated using an activation ritual. If you don't want to spoil any of the gameplay, you might want to skip this part where I specifically show how the ritual works. But let's get to it. To activate the Division Sigil, you will need to perform a dangerous ritual, so you need to be prepared, having some armor and good weapons in order to defend yourself. But we are gonna just be secure and cheat a little bit. But what it needs to be is actually midnight. You need an enchantment table, you need dirt or grass supporting the enchantment table and the redstone I'm gonna place right now. 8 pieces of it all the way around the enchantment table. And now you are actually prepared for midnight to come and activate the Division Sigil. If you shift right click on the enchantment table, it will tell you what conditions are good and what not, and it is too early to sacrifice right now. So what we also need is a sacrifice ready. This can be another player, it can also be a mob, so we're just gonna go with the usual cow that we have been using, right? So what we need to do now is wait for midnight. Let's actually cheat midnight just like that, and you can see the Division Sigil is active. If we shift right click now, we can see to perform the sacrifice. It tells us to do so. So let's spawn the cow and perform the sacrifice, and it will be a lightning strike that hits the earth and change it into this cursed earth. Cursed earth can only be obtained through the method I've just shown you. It will try to spread to adjacent grass and dirt blocks during the night or when it is completely dark, but it will cease to exist if you put a torch down or if it gets into contact with the sunlight. It will increase the mob spawning rate by a lot, and it will also ignore the player's proximity to the spawning patches, so you can be really close and the mobs will keep spawning. Now that it is daytime, you can see clearly that the patches are despawning pretty quickly, and they will also spread occasional fire that will increase the light level even more, and it will get rid of the cursed earth entirely eventually. So you will need to make sure that this is in complete darkness after you've created it. So now that we have finally activated the division sigil, it's time for us to use it in a crafting table. Its main purpose is to disenchant items, and this works in two ways, either with a normal book or an enchanted book. The enchanted book will make sure that a specific level and amount will be subtracted from your current item, and the empty book will take one level from each enchant that you have on your items. So let me just exemplify this with diamond sword, sharpness 2, the division sigil right here, and an empty book that will remove one of each enchant that I have right here. So the outcome should be a sharpness 2, or from sharpness 2, a sharpness 1 sword. Just like that. One note about doing this with regular books is that your sword will take slight damage, but it will also increase its damage by a quarter. For the last few items, we are going to need a new material, the unstable ingot. You've already encountered it in the process of making ethereal glass, but now we actually are going to craft it. And this is a dangerous process, let me warn you, because once you craft them, they will become a ticking time bomb. After 10 seconds, they will explode in your inventory or wherever they are on the floor. It doesn't really matter, they will explode and you will regret it for the rest of your life. What you have to do is place iron ingots on the top, your sigil in the center, and diamonds on the bottom, and you can craft those. But don't do it unless you know what you want to craft with them, because there's no time to think after that. What you can do is the tools and weapons, the standard ones. We have an etheric sword, shovel, pickaxe, an axe, a hoe, and this builder's wand. And I'm going to show you the recipe for this. The other stuff is just crafted like vanilla recipes. So let me actually explain you what the different tools do, because they have specific traits to them. And I have to note that the author mentioned that this is subject to change. So if you see this video at a later stage, the abilities of the tools might have changed. But let's have a look at them. First up, we have the etheric sword. This guy does slightly more damage than a diamond sword, and it also bypasses armor due to a little bit of magical damage. The destruction pickaxe, on the other hand, is not able to destroy any type of block other than stone, but through stone it will go like butter, just like that. Also note that it actually destroys the block. You will not be able to pick them up. That's actually a good thing. The erosion shovel can be used just like any other shovel, but it will destroy sand and gravel above the block that you are destroying. So, well, that almost looked like I was in creative mode, but it actually just destroyed everything above it. So that is just freaking convenient. Also note that it destroys the blocks just like the destruction pickaxe. So use those guys once you have enough of those materials. The healing axe is an interesting tool. You can hit mobs or players with it, and it will take life from you and heal the thing that you hit with a slight bonus. It does not work on undead creatures. Undead creatures it will still hurt, and it will actually hurt them 4 times the amount it would usually hurt something. Very interesting. As a little bonus, this axe also, if equipped, refills your hunger bar slowly. The reversing hoe is actually a funny one. What it will do is reverse states of some types of blocks, for instance wheat, into previous states. So you can go through the different states just like that. That doesn't seem very practical, but it will also work on cobblestone to make them into normal stone. That is indeed very practical, and you can also use it to make dirt into grass. Let's try it right here. Perfect. Next up, we have the builder's wand, and this guy is freaking hilarious. You will get an indication once you hover over a block what will happen, and it will check for the same material that you use below it. If you have it in your inventory, it will only work then, and it will add up to 9 blocks. So you can simply right click, and what it will do is simply stack the pattern that you had on top of each other. So you can simply build up like this without cheating blocks in, because it only works if you have the right amount of blocks in your inventory. Last but not least, we have the sonar goggles. Those guys are crafted with unstable ingots as well. You can wear them as a helmet and it will make your interface like it is right now. What it will do is actually show you the whole ore vein that you are currently looking at. Right now it doesn't work because it is daytime. It works better the darker it is. So let's actually make it in the middle of the night, and now you can see a grid of the entire ore that we have. So if I started to mine that, you can see that there is kind of something else other than stone within this vicinity. So what we can do is have a look right here, and we found another diamond. You can see how the grid kind of works out. So this is a very convenient way not to miss any diamonds once you find a vein. Sometimes they are diagonal and you don't see them immediately. Right, so those were all the recipes that use the unstable ingots, and I'm sure you want to see one of those explosions. So let's actually provide that. We're going to use that to craft one unstable ingot, and oh geez. Yeah, you want to avoid that. Alright guys, we're almost through. There's just a bunch more items that I want to show you. First up, we have the watering can made like this. It is first of all empty. You will have to fill it with water. Right click on a water source block and you will get a normal watering can. And what you can do is speed up the growth of certain things if you right click it. That is just hilarious. Nice idea. What you can also do is actually put out a fire just like that. There's a random chance with every use that it will empty itself out and that you will have to refill it. Things like that, of course, are implemented in order to support the peaceful mode, so we could get rid of the bone meal if we wanted to. There's also two recipes that will make you able to craft a nether star and obsidian. The obsidian one goes like that. Let me just quickly find it. There we go, with a pickaxe and some water buckets. And you can craft it. And it just gets rid of the agonizing gathering of obsidian in the beginning of the game. You can also craft nether stars using this recipe. This is also from the More Utilities mod. And it simply replaces the need of fighting the wither skeleton if you really wanted to. But of course, those things are optional to use. Alright guys, this has been everything about this mod so far, at least with the current version, and I cannot wait for future installments and updates on this mod. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments section, and also have a look in the description where you can find the link to more detailed information on the Minecraft forums. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, I would appreciate a like, and other than that, have a great time and hopefully see you soon. Bye bye.